Hello everyone and welcome to Prehistory, a Traveler's Guide, and to give a quick update about our current format, since we're making a transition to YouTube, our episodes are now going to be pre-recorded, and we will no longer be able to take live calls, but you're more than welcome to leave comments on our new YouTube channel and email us at prehistoryatg@gmail.com. And so, without further ado, let's go into the notes on that weird crocodilian Stomatosuchus. Stomatosuchus was 10 meters or 32 feet long and weighed about 9.7 metric tons or 10 U.S. tons. It is a crocodilian from the Stomatosuchid Neosuchian family. Unlike most other crocodilomorphs, it is difficult to determine what exactly S1-E18 ate. Its flattened skull had a long, flat, lid-like snout, which was lined with small, conical teeth. The mandible may have been toothless and may have supported a pelican-like throat pouch. This is unprecedented amongst other known crocodilians, and is why this ancient crocodile was given the full name of Stomatosuchus intermus, which means weaponless mouth crocodile. What Stomatosuchus ate remains unknown for certain, but one hypothesis is that it ate fish. Stomatosuchus could either gulp water or wait for a fish to pass by and then suck it in, using its throat muscles to draw in the fish inside. It could have then closed the upper jaw and constrict its pouch to squeeze the water out while the teeth prevented the fish from escaping. Another hypothesis is that Stomatosuchus fed on tiny plankton and krill, much like a baleen whale, rather than the one on the land and river animals that populated Africa during the Middle Cretaceous period. Stomatosuchus is one of the many North African crocodiles that developed very special social adaptations, also evidenced by the discoveries of Langosuchus and Coprosuchus, better known as the boar croc. And to finish off these short notes, who would like to take it over next?
I'll take Mr. One.
Okay then.
I can see this animal living like an animal living. They call it spoonbill. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, this weird bird.
One feeding fish. Wait, start. Habitat. Habitat. Skull by German collected by German it was obliterated when the Munich Museum was destroyed during an Allied bombing raid in 1944. Popular culture. There's nothing significant about this crocodilian in popular culture.
Unfortunately, but hopefully we can get to change that soon.
Well, it's a very obscure animal. A lot of people aren't just of it.
True.
It would probably be more well known if there were more specimens that people could see in a museum.
True. Do you have any?
Agreed. When David Pickers.
So, do you have any thoughts, Greg?
One guy's name we don't mention.
Wonderful artist.
This domestic is.
You gotta like art.
David Peters, isn't he the guy that does all the weird pterosaur reconstructions?
Pterosaurs.
Yeah.
He's got some stuff to say about plesiosaurs too.
I can only imagine. He has this weird idea that pterosaurs are not archosaurs, but they are lizards, lepidosaurs. And it's...
Exactly. And he's taken a lot of flack for it too.
Oh yeah.
Certainly so.
Well,
he is a wonderful artist.
True, I don't doubt his artistic ability and all that, but it's just... It just boggles me why he thinks this, because he doesn't really support
his... Well, it's like Alan that insists that birds aren't dinosaurs, you know?
Yeah. I can understand to a degree, but his case unfortunately doesn't seem to be well supported because pterosaurs have the characteristics of ornithidans. But anyways, to continue
Speaking
on.
of archosaurs, rumors going around that Metriorhynchus may have been live bearers, like plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs.
Really?
And so, that archosaurs that weren't egg layers.
Cool. That is interesting.
That wouldn't be too implausible.
Well, they do have a tail fin. That would be kind of awkward for them to, they got this shark-like tail fin. It would be kind of awkward for them coming up on land with that. So.
True. And I can imagine that.
They debate whether plesiosaurs were amphibious, and some of them had tail fins too. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there was a bottom level. Anyway, the tail fin of a plesiosaur is built in such a way that they can go in. And there are amphibious fish too, so I don't know.
It would seem likely. I think anything would be possible for a marine animal to give live birth. In a crocodilian, I don't think it would be impossible. But I would suspect that this would give it less young to deal with and possibly greater parental care. So it's an interesting consequence of that.
We blundered up on some more evidence that plesiosaurs may have lived in social groups and took care of their young.
True. Well, onward with the paleo news. Who would like to talk about the coelacanth? Greg, you haven't got to speak yet, so would you like to cover the coelacanth?
Yeah, I've got the story on my computer.
All right, then.
Already set to go. Okay, this dates from September 22nd, 2015, from geologypage.com. Africa's earliest and have been found in a 360 million year old fossil. Various specimens of Africa's earliest coelacanth have been found in a 360 million year old fossil estuary near Grahamstown in South Africa's Eastern Cape. More than 30 complete specimens of the new fossils.
I think it was pregnant.
Yeah, go ahead, Scott. Oh, well, my bad, but as I was going.
From what I read somewhere, there were eggs inside of it, or embryos.
Let's see here.
Doesn't mention anything about it. It's just about this particular specimen in the picture, but I'll continue reading what it had to say here. 30 complete specimens of the new fossil species Serenixis kawaensis were collected from the famous late Devonian age Waterloo Farm locality by paleontologist Dr. Robert Guest and described by him in collaboration with Professor Michael Coates of the University of Chicago. Guest did the research while he was completing his PhD at the Evolutionary Studies Institute at the University of the Witwatersrand. An article describing this species will be published in the Zoological Journey of the Linnean Society of London in August. Remarkably, all of the delicate whole fish impressions represent juveniles. This is that Serenixis was using a shallow water weed filled as a nursery, as many fish do today, says Guest. The fossils come from black shales originally disturbed by roadworks at Waterloo Farm. These shales are the petrified, compacted remains of mud, which was deposited in the quiet reaches of an estuary, not unlike some of those along the eastern Cape Coast today. This earliest known record of a coelacanth nursery foreshadows a much younger counterpart known from the 300 million year old Mazon creek beds of Illinois in the United States, says Guest. Coates goes on to explain, quote, this glimpse into the early life history of ancient coelacanths raises further questions about the life history of the modern coelacanth Latin America, which is known to bear live young, but where they too are clustered in nurseries remains unknown. 60 million years ago, Africa was part of the southern supercontinent Gondwana, where Africa, India, Australia, Antarctica, and South America. The rocks of Waterloo Farm were forming along the shores of the semi-closed Agulhas Sea, not far from the South Pole. Guest originally identified coelacanth remains from the locality whilst carrying out excavations at Waterloo Farm in the mid-1990s under the supervision of Dr. Norton Hiller of the Rhodes University Geology Department. These fossils were not, however, well preserved enough to be reconstructed and described. His painstaking excavation of tons of shale salvage during subsequent road works has now shed light on dozens more specimens, few of which are now preserved in exquisite detail. These were prepared under a microscope and have allowed the species to be reconstructed by the They proved to be a new genus and species. The coelacanths are believed to have risen during the Devonian period, about 419.2 to the power of 3.2 million years. However, only 5 species of reconstructible Devonian coelacanths have been previously described, in addition to a varied number of very fragmentary remains. Came from Africa, but from North America, Europe, and Australia. The new species is important additional information on the early evolution of coelacanths. According to our evolutionary analysis conducted by Guess and Coates, it is a Devonian species that most closely resembles the line leading to the modern coelacanth, says Guess. The new species was described a mere 100 kilometers from the mouth of the Columna River, off which the type species of Latimer columnae, the first described modern coelacanth, was caught in 1938. Furthermore, the geology department at Rhodes, where it was located when he found his first fossil coelacanth, is on the site of the former chemistry department where Latimer was first described. In keeping with the name of its living relatives at their eastern Cape River, the species name of the new fossil form is named after the Cowie River, which rises among the hills where it was, and the genus name Serenixes honors Serena Guess, who provided land for the storage of more than 70 tons of black shale, rented from road works for ongoing research, in which all the new material was found. And all specimens have been deposited in the permanent collection of the Albany Natural History Museum in Grahamstown, Eastern Cape Province, South Africa.
I'd like to mention that the oldest known fossil lamprey is exactly the same age, 361 years ago.
Cool. Alrighty.
And they basically the lampreys today, too.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't lampreys and hagfish considered living fossils?
Yes, they're those and the hagfish are the only living agnathan jawless fishes alive today that we know about.
Interesting. And I'll spearhead the new discovery of a new hadrosaur found in Alaska. This is reported on phys.org. Fossils from a unique plant-eating dinosaur were found high in the Arctic of Alaska may change how scientists view dinosaur physiology, say Alaska and Florida University researchers. A paper published Tuesday concluded that the fossilized bones found along Alaska's Culver River were a distinct species of hadrosaur, or duck-billed dinosaur, not connected to the hadrosaurs previously identified in Canada or the lower 48 states. It's the fourth species unique to northern Alaska. It supports a theory of Arctic-adapted dinosaurs that lived 69 million years ago, in temperatures far cooler than the tropical or equatorial temperatures most people associate with dinosaurs, says Gregory Erickson, professor of biological science at Florida State University. Basically, a lost world of dinosaurs that we didn't realize existed, he said. The northern hadrosaurs have endured months of winter darkness and probably snow. It was certainly not like the Arctic up here today. Probably in the 40s was the mean annual temperature, Erickson said. Probably a good analog is thinking about British Columbia. The next step in the research program will be trying to figure out how they survive, he said. Mark Norrell, curator of paleontology at the American Museum of Natural History in New York, said by email that it was plausible that the animals lived in the high Arctic year-round, just like musk oxen and caribou do now. It's hard to imagine, he said, the small juvenile dinosaurs were physically capable of long-distance migrational travel. Furthermore, the climate was much less harsh in the late Cretaceous than it is today, making it substantiability easier, he said. Most of the fossils were found in the Lipscomb bone bed, more than 300 miles northwest of Fairbanks and a little more than 100 miles south of the Arctic Ocean. The bed is named for geologist Robert Lipscomb, who found the first dinosaur bones in Alaska in 1961 while mapping for Shell Oil Company. Lipscomb thought they came from mammals. They retained them in storage for about 2 decades until someone identified the fossils as dinosaur bones, says Pat Druckenmiller, Earth Sciences curator at the University of Alaska Museum. Researchers from over the next 25 years excavated and cataloged more than 6,000 hadrosaur bones, far more than any other Alaskan dinosaur. Most of were from small juveniles, estimated to be around 9 feet long, or about 2.9 meters, and 3 feet, or 1 meter, at the hips. It appears that a herd of small animals were killed suddenly, wiping out mostly one similar-age population to create this deposit, said Druckenmiller. They initially thought to be Edmontosaurus, a hadrosaur well known in Canada and the United States, including Montana and South Dakota. The formal study of the Alaskan dinosaur, however, revealed differences in the skull and mouth features that made it a different species, Druckenmiller said. Researchers have dubbed the creature Urobacula carupalensis. The name means ancient grazer, and it was chosen by the scientists with assistance from the speakers in Inupiaq, the language of the Alaskan Inupiaq Eskimos. The dinosaur grew up to 30 feet long. Hundreds of teeth helped it chew coarse vegetation, researchers said. They probably walked primarily on their hind legs, but could walk on all 4 legs. The Lipscomb bone bed during the Cretaceous period was hundreds of miles farther north than what it is now, the Arctic Ocean. And that concludes most of it. And I would say this reinforces the idea that dinosaurs were warm-blooded. And I'm pretty sure with that discovery that we covered of the Alaskan Elmausosaur could also support that these animals had high metabolisms capable of surviving in this cold weather.
I also know that there were freshwater plesiosaurs up there too.
True. And alright. Would you like to cover the last one? Or Greg, would you like to cover it?
Yeah, I don't have the news.
Yeah, I've got the news story about the new carnivorous dinosaur from Australia given the nickname of Lightning Claw. Both the Brian Sweetek Paleo Profile and the actual news story from AustralianGeographic.com.
Alright then.
One of the describers of the animal, John Pearl. I'll read from that, then I'll read some of the Paleo Profile for some facts specifically about the dinosaur.
Alright, and then...
Okay. Alright, next story. Next. Lightning Claw discovered in Australia. New dinosaur is Australia's largest carnivore, given the appropriate nickname Lightning Claw. Lightning Claw, a new dinosaur from northern New South Wales, is the biggest, baddest meat eater yet found down under. Article written by John Pickrell, editor of Australian Geographic. A new carnivorous dinosaur with unusually long claws has been revealed from fossil bones discovered by opal miners in the outback town of Lightning Ridge. The animal would have been a large rodent predator that prowled the waterways and floodplains of this region of the southern subcontinent gone water 110 million years ago to the mid-Cretaceous period. When I started looking at this fossil last year, I immediately recognized it was something new and important. Comparing it to other Australian and South American dinosaurs, it became clear this was a Megaraptor, a relatively rare dinosaur mostly known from Argentina, says paleontologist Dr. Phil Bell, lead author of a study detailed and defined in the journal Gondwana Research this week. From our calculation, this animal would have been about 7 meters in length, which is the biggest carnivorous dinosaur currently known from Australia, adds Phil, who is based at the University of New England in Armidale, New South Wales. The dinosaur dubbed Lightning Claw by the find would have been a little larger than the previous record holder, 5 meter long Australopithecus. Australopithecus, a related meat-eating Megaraptor, was described in 2009 from 94-million-year-old fossil remains found in Winton, Queensland. The new fossil consisting of a giant claw from the hand, parts of the arm, hip, and foot, pieces of ribs, and a whole bunch of other fragments was discovered in the 1990s, tens of meters underground at the Carter's Rush opal field southwest of Lightning Ridge. There were just enough clues in those bones to identify it as a Megaraptor dinosaur, and some features that marked it out as totally unique, Phil says. Terrifying dinosaur claws. He argues that the huge claws may be used a little like giant grappling hooks to totally ensnare prey. Megaraptors lack the huge and powerful jaws seen in other carnivorous dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus rex. The fossil, largely formed of blue-gray punch or non-translucent opal, also displays occasional flashes of brightly colored precious opal when it is moved in the light. In 2005, Lightning Ridge locals Rob and Debbie Brogan, who acquired the fossil, donated to the Australian Opal Center, or AOC. The AOC is building a museum collection of opal fossil material at Lightning Ridge. The original specimen was almost certainly more complete, but it wasn't immediately recognized as a fossil. Parts were unfortunately destroyed before it was excavated, says Phil, who has chosen not to officially describe the new animal as a new species until more complete material is found. It's another little piece of the puzzle for Australian dinosaurs, says Dr. Steve Salisbury, a paleontologist at the University of Queensland in Brisbane, who is not involved in the study. He says that while we've known for a while from isolated bones and teeth that the large carnivores at Lightning Ridge, nobody has had such complete remains or studied them in this much detail before. We've got tracks of things in Australia that were probably quite a bit larger, so there were bigger theropods out there, but it's good to have some actual bony elements of all those animals, he adds. In our next part, Purpose of Gondwana. Steve says this studies the idea that Megaraptor dinosaurs were the dominant carnivores in Australia in the mid-Cretaceous. It may suggest lower diversity in general kinds of carnivorous dinosaurs in this part of the world than actually traditionally thought. Megaraptorids are a group of medium-sized carnivores, including species such as Megaraptor, Arostion, and Orcaraptor, which lived in the southern supercontinent of Gondwana during the Cretaceous period. Other landmass that joined Australia at this time included South America, Antarctica, and Africa. Australian dinosaurs have traditionally thought of as aberrant or relic species, which lived in the periphery that gave birth to new radiations of dinosaur species. But Phil argues that the new guy may turn that idea on its head. Lightning Claw, at 110 million years old, is the oldest member of this group of Megaraptor dinosaurs. There's also evidence of isolated bones that these animals also existed in Victoria at around the same time as at Lightning Ridge, Phil says. The evidence now points to an Australian origin for this group, so they first appeared here and branched out across Gondwana, colonizing other parts of the supercontinent, pulling the Australian dinosaurs. Phil, one of the leaders of last month's Australian Geographic Society Lightning Ridge fossil dig, has a record for several years on studying a very undescribed dinosaur material, alongside local paleontologist Dr. Elizabeth Smith and Jenny Bramall, based at the AOC. Italian scientists Drs. Federico Fanti and Andrea Cao were also involved in studying the new material. Several other new species of dinosaurs, Stomatosuchus, Rapator, and Fulgurotherium, have been described from opalized fossil material found at Lightning Ridge, but each of these fossils only consists of a single bone. Lightning Claw is the second most complete carnivorous Australian dinosaur, known after Australopenator. The dinosaurs in Australia are relatively poorly known, with only around 17 well-defined species, mostly from very fragmentary remains. And that concludes our story. And for another fun fact, John Perkle is the author of the book Flying Dinosaurs: How Fearsome Reptiles Became Birds, published by New South Books in June 2014. And
as a quick note, I should mention that the upcoming prehistoric matchup in this episode was fought out by Scott, and he actually suggested Astroventilator as the opponent to Gigantopithecus. So that's a fun fact, and it's interesting to see a relative of this animal being found. Any thoughts you'd like to have?
Also, shout out to okay, just one thing here. Gotta give the shout out to Julius Costantoni from our group, who created the restoration of Lightning Claw that you will be seeing here on the slides when the video gets uploaded to YouTube.
And to give you a break, Greg, I'm going to let Scott go over the paleo bits section a little bit ahead before we get into the popular culture. So, Scott, if you don't mind.
Hang on.
All right, then.
Oh, that's fine.
I need a break.
This one actually hits kind of close to home. A number of alleged lake monsters are sometimes claimed to be living physical. These include Camp, which supposedly lives in the United States. Ogopogo, which supposedly lives in Lake Okanagan Canada. And most famously of all, Nessie, which supposedly lives in Loch Ness in Scotland. Mainstream scientists are generally skeptical of these claims for a variety of reasons, including lack of physical evidence. Cryptozoologists and tourists in these areas, however, continue to look for these creatures.
So,
as they say in the courtroom, you must protect the body.
all right.
If you ain't got a body, you're not going to be believed in court. Eyewitness testimony is extremely bad evidence.
Yeah.
And
there's photographs and videos too, though.
Well, yeah, videos can be faked, but a really good, high quality HD video that could definitely feel.
We'll see.
And
It's not a
so,
fat lady's sentence.
and this is a way of giving you a shout out, Scott, for your work on Lake Chaplin. And
It was named after Charlie Chaplin.
Charlie Chaplin.
I also forgot to mention, when we were talking about Stomatosuchus,
Right.
it had a really obscure sister taxa that was a vegetarian called Tomatosuchus.
Oh, you know, there is a vegetarian.
Stomatosuchus.
You know, there actually is a vegetarian. You know, as I say, there is actually a vegetarian crocodilian. Let me get
Yeah, with the weird teeth. I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, its name was Stomatosuchus.
Stomatosuchus.
Yeah,
It's
it
got
was.
the weird teeth of
Yeah.
a crab eater seal with all the crowns on it.
Yeah. Ow.
Big long tooth.
Yeah, it's about. I'd say it's about a foot long, about 5 feet long. It was a very small crocodile.
And long legs. I think it walked with an upright posture too.
My book doesn't describe much about that. Just mainly focuses on its diet, but just shows you that crocodilians are much more diverse than you would think.
Well, yeah, there was some bipedal ones.
Oh yeah, and I think it was considered that their ancestors.
There were ones that could climb trees, even in Australia, I think.
Yeah.
Good thing those things are not around no more.
Drop crocs.
Alright.
I think we should probably get on to the double feature of Jurassic World and Godzilla news.
Okay then. I'll take care of the Godzilla, I mean not the Godzilla, but the Jurassic Park for you, so that way your voice can recover, Greg. So.
Yeah, I've got quite the thing here about 2016 Godzilla. It's pretty big news.
Oh. I am all ears.
The main cast of two. All right. This comes from Screonk.com from September 22nd, 2016, and this concerns Toho's upcoming 2016 Godzilla film. The big news for this week is the main cast of the film has been announced, setting in modern day Japan, and the title confirmed as Shin Gojira. On to the news story itself. Hiroki Hasegawa, Yutaka Takanouchi, and Satomi Ishihara are all set to star in the film, each of which being big names in Japan's pop culture. The gorgeous Ishihara previously worked on Godzilla 16 co-director Shinjuchi Higuchi's Attack on Titan film. Was also a recipient of the Japanese Academy Award for New Best Actress. Her co-star, Hiroki Hasegawa, also won an Academy Award for Best Newcomer. So these two names alone attached to the project is very promising. Even more impressive is famed Japanese actor Yutaka Takanouchi, who is also a Japanese Academy Award winner, his being for the coveted Best Lead Actor. With this trio of award winners fronting Toho's Godzilla reboot, we could rest assured they're pulling out the big guns and not rejecting their budget, which is wonderful news for us fans. I think we're in store for a real treat when the film. And we've also translated some of this article from Sanspo.com, revealing the film will indeed be set in modern-day Japan. And one of the lead actors, Satomi Ishihara, if not all three, will be playing government officials/agents, and that the U.S. will be involved in the story. The modern setting should come as no surprise to those who have been keeping up with the recent filming locations over the past month. metropolitan hotspots, so Japan's biggest cities. But early talk of the film possibly being a period piece remake of 1954 original movie can finally be laid to rest. And Gomaru Island's Facebook page has been updated with a full translation, saying that Shin Gojira is in fact the title of the film. While we wait an official confirmation, here's their full translation. Gomaru Island, Shin Gojira cast announcement, plot samples. Shin Gojira is the official title translations. Shin Gojira plot samples. The story takes place in modern-day Japan that is attacked, and the United States are involved in the chaos. Haruhi Hasegawa is our male lead character. Hasegawa is an honest and straightforward kind of guy, leading as the male lead for the movie. Yutaka Takano plays the role of a government official within an attacked modern-day Japan. Takano states at the 29th Godzilla film, like the 1950, we won the star votes within the series. Satomi Ishihara plays a U.S. agent and the heroine in the movie when swept into the madness. Godzilla 2014 has set the height bar at 108 meters. Shin Gojira is expected to exceed that into becoming the largest incarnation of Godzilla. Executive producer Yamauchi confirms that Shin Gojira is the official movie title. Behind the title of Shin Gojira as a title negative, Shin Gojira is meant to be an expression of resurrecting the true Godzilla, as this Godzilla put the fearful God rightfully in its name. Anno, however, states that Shin Gojira also has a variety of feelings that they invested into the icon in film. Apparently, Shin Gojira started production since August 10th, shooting in the Kanato suburbs and plans to end at the end of October. The decision to join Shin Gojira was seemingly a nervous choice. They felt intense pressure given how big of an icon Godzilla is, but upon reading the script, the cast decided to join. Ishihara apparently shed tears over reading it at home. Although the pressure is greater weight on her because the heroine of the Godzilla film, she feels responsible in delivering her best.
I'm curious as to why we can't get a Godzilla versus Gamera.
I think there's a lot of legal red tape.
They would damn sure make a load of money on that one.
True to that.
Legal reasons.
But if there is a on YouTube,
Death Battle already did this.
On YouTube, there's a Screw Attack did their death battle of Godzilla versus Gamera, and it was pretty good. But I agree. I wish they would, Scott, that I wish they would make a full.
Put together.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they should do it right. I mean, you know.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure a lot of people would love to see it. No, I would.
I'm pretty sure Godzilla would turn Gamera into turtle soup, so...
That's what Godzilla did, turn him into turtle soup. That's what happened in the death battle.
Back too.
The gargantuans.
If you want to see Siren, Senda, and Gyra.
Weren't they supposed to be
you want
like...
to see the gargantuans fight Godzilla?
Wasn't they descended from Frankenstein's monster?
Well,
yeah, they were.
It was Frankenstein Conquers the World, and the War of the Gargantuan was originally meant to be a sequel to that.
Ah.
But for some reason they changed their mind and changed it into the Gargantuas.
Okay,
if you watch the Japanese version of the movie, they actually explicitly Frankenstein.
Okay, well, I guess maybe in the Japanese version it is a direct sequel. But in the American...
I have that edition.
Yeah,
American version, it's standalone. And the Gargantuas also appear in the IDW Godzilla Rose of Earth series, where they did get a chance to have a fight with Godzilla early on in the series run.
Cool.
It's a comic book series, though.
Well,
the comic series is one I recommend.
I look forward to reading some of it once I get some issues this Christmas. On our next story on the movie news, Colin Trevorrow, reveals that the plot direction for Jurassic World 2 and confirms a Jurassic World trilogy. Oh boy. Ahead of next month's home entertainment release of this year's most successful blockbuster, Jurassic World, director and diehard Jurassic Park fan Colin Trevorrow has revealed the direction its sequel, Jurassic World 2, will take. Speaking to the fans of the Jurassic cast, Trevorrow teased that dinosaurs and humankind will coexist by referencing the basis for which they created Jurassic World's own plot. We looked at it as a trilogy from the very beginning. We designed the whole movie thing that way. And honestly, the whole trilogy is articulated in Jurassic Park. Jurassic World is all based on Ian Malcolm's quote, "You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something so fast as you could, and before you knew it, you knew what you had. You packaged it, slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you want to sell it." That to me is a Jurassic World. That's why I had all the product placement, and that's what it was. So Jurassic World 2, its dinosaurs and man separated by 65 million years of evolution have been thrown back into the mix together. How can we know what to expect? It's not the exact quote, but you'll get the idea, and that's why it's exciting that the movie did well. I had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it was designed this way. So now we can get to play that out. So in all, Turnover has confirmed that not only the direction for Jurassic World 2, but also confirms very early reports that Jurassic World would spawn a new trilogy of films. There's a podcast that you can listen to on sci-fi.com. And that concludes the movie news. How's your voice holding up, Greg?
Well,
It's alright.
Alright, well, to give you a little bit longer break, man, Scott, if you'd like, can you cover the video game segment? It should be on the slides.
I have no notes on it.
Okay, then I'll
I'd really report on it.
okay, I'll cover it then, because I have it right here. Anyways, after a minor setback with a fraud account, Mesozoica is once again climbing back up to their $40,000 Kickstarter. It was they had reached the $40,000 mark, but unfortunately they had received a fraudulent pay-in from a fraudulent account. But fortunately that was quickly resolved, and thanks to fans and supporters of the game, they have reached their 40K mark, and the game is still expected to reach their 50,000 mark soon. So we wish them luck, and we hope to see the game in full swing. And now, without further ado, Greg, if you'd like to give us the book review, we'll leave you alone for the rest of the episode.
I've got two books here tonight in dealing with one of the aspects of our show, paleo art. The first book I've got here is written by, again, one of our own group members, Julius Casatoni. The book is titled The Paleo Art of Julius Casatoni, Dinosaurs, Sabertooths, and Beyond. Written by Julius Casatoni, N.Z. White, forward by Daisy Evans, and instructor Robert T. Backer. The book is written by our esteemed friend Julius. It features almost his entire catalog of work he's done, organized through time periods. It's got interviews with him throughout the book, and some certain pieces actually go into detail as to how he put it together. Very, very fascinating. The art is just incredibly gorgeous. If you ever go to any of the museums in Canada, like the Royal Tyrrell Museum, his work adorns the walls and halls of that museum and others. What can I really say? The guy's a talent, puts many of ours to just utter shame. Another fun little fact here about Julius: he also has considerable academic expertise, having completed a bachelor's in ecology and environmental biology, an MSc in ecology, and PhD in biologists have published a number of scientific papers to his name, largely on microorganisms. So go check this book out if you're a fan of Julius and his work. And the other one we've got tonight is Dinosaur Art, the World's Paleo Art by Steve White. This one is a celebration of the world's greatest paleo art and their respective artists. And many of the artists in this book are also members of our Facebook group. The artists featured in this book include Julius Costantoni, previously mentioned, Gregory S. Paul, Mauricio Anton, Douglas Henderson, Todd Marshall, John Sibick, Louis Ray, John Conway, Robert Nichols, and lastly, Raoul Martin. I'll run, and the foreword is by Dr. Phil Curry, the introduction by Scott Sampson, and a little plate by the Dinosaur Art by Steve White. How it's laid out is you get the first page introducing the artist, a little biography. In each picture, shows you the picture, and the caption tells you how it was put together, and just some commentary about it. And it's written like a sit-down interview with the artist, talking about how they got started, and all that. So it's nice to actually hear the commentary from the artists themselves about their work, like who influenced them, how they put this together. So yeah, I haven't really got through all of it yet, but just from what I'm seeing, it just brings back memories, because I've seen a lot of these other artists' work growing up, especially Doug Henderson, Conway, and others.
A lot of my own inspiration.
Mauricio Anton,
I would say a few of those names are quite inspirational to my own work, especially those of Gregory S. Paul. But thank you, Greg, and we're going to let you rest for a while. And Scott, if you can you do
I'll take the Erasmus.
All right then.
Yep. Here we go. Another week. Lived in the late Cretaceous period, Campanian state, 80.5 million years ago. A genus of plesiosaur with an extremely long. The Erasmus about 14 feet in length and weighed over 2,000 kilograms or 2.2 short tons, making it among the largest plesiosaurs. It differs from all other plesiosaurs by having 6 per maxilla, the bones at the tip of the snout, and 71 cervical vertebrae. The Elasmosaurus platyurus was described in March 1868 by Edward Drinker Cope from a fossil discovered and collected by Dr. Theophilus Turner, a military doctor in western Kansas, USA. The found a Campanian age Cretaceous Cuir shell in western Kansas. The fuel represents a period of marine deposition from the western interior seaway, a shallow continental sea that submerged much of central North America during the Cretaceous. Like most plesiosaurs, Elasmosaurus was incapable of raising anything more than its head above the water, as it is commonly depicted in art and media. The weight of its long neck placed the center of gravity behind the front flippers. Thus, the Elasmosaurus could not have raised its head and neck above the water if it were water, where it would have. Thus, the Elasmosaurus could only have raised its head and neck above the water in shallow water, where it could rest its body on the bottom. The weight of the neck, primitive musculature, and the movement between the vertebrae would have prevented the Elasmosaurus from raising its head and neck very high as well. The Elasmosaurus was a slow swimmer and may have stalked schools of fish. The long neck would allow Elasmosaurus to conceal itself below the school of fish. It then would have moved its head slowly and approached its prey from below. The eyes of the animal could have had stereoscopic vision, which would help it find small prey. Hunting from below would also have helped by silhouetting the prey in the sunlight while concealing elasmosaurus in the dark waters below. Hunting from below would all help by silhouette prey in the sunlight while concealing elasmosaurus below. Elasmosaurus is believed to have lived mostly in open oceans. The paddles of elasmosaurus and other plesiosaurs are so rigid and specialized for swimming they could not have come on to lay eggs. Thus, it most likely gave live birth to its young, like modern sea. While direct evidence of reproduction in Elasmosaurus is not yet known, the contemporaneous plesiosaur Polycatalis is known to have given birth to live young. I bet that they gave live birth.
Yep.
Okay.
And for tonight, we have a very special fight, as mentioned earlier. This was a King Kong-inspired prehistoric matchup. Gigantopithecus versus Astroventilator. And tonight's artwork was produced by yours truly, showing the ape and the theropod going at it. So here are the notes for Gigantopithecus, an extinct genus of ape that existed perhaps 9 million years ago to as recently as 100,000 years ago in what is now China, India, and Vietnam, placing Gigantopithecus in the same time frame and geographic location as several hominid species. The fossil record suggests that individuals of the species, Gigantopithecus blacki, were the largest known apes that ever lived, standing at 3 meters or 10 feet tall and weighing up to 540 kilograms or 1,200 pounds. The first Gigantopithecus remains, described by an anthropologist, were found in 1935 by Ralph von Koenigswald in an apocryphy shop. Fossilized teeth and bones were often ground into powder and used in some branches of traditional Chinese medicine. Von Koenigswald named the theorized species Gigantopithecus. Gigantopithecus' method of locomotion is uncertain, as no pelvic or leg bones have been found. The dominant view is that it walked on all fours like modern gorillas and chimpanzees. However, a minority opinion favors bipedal locomotion. In addition to bamboo, Gigantopithecus consumed other vegetable foods, as suggested by the analysis of the pyrolites adhering to its teeth. An examination of the microscopic scratches and gritty plant remains embedded in Gigantopithecus' teeth suggests that it ingested seeds and fruit as well as bamboo. There are presently 3 extinct species of Gigantopithecus: G. blacki, G. burlopleurensis, and G. giganteus. Moving on to Astroventilator. Astroventilator, a genus of Megaraptoran theropod dinosaur from the Albian or early Cretaceous rocks dated to 95 million years ago of Australia. According to Hocknull, it was 2 meters at the tail and 6 meters or 20 feet long, with a weight of about 500 to 1,000 kilograms or about 1 ton. Because it was a lightweight predator, he coined it as the cheetah of its time. It is known from partial cranial and postcranial remains that were described in 2009 by Scott Hocknull and his colleagues. Recent phylogenetic analysis suggests that Astroventilator is a tyrannosauroid, like all other megaraptorans. Previously, it was thought that these dinosaurs were more closely related to Allosaurus and other allosaurids. The holotype was found in a clay layer between sandstone layers, interpreted as an oxbow lake or billabong deposit. The Winton Formation had a faunal assemblage that included bivalves, gastropods, insects, the lungfish Metrocoptilus, turtles, the crocodilian Isis florinda, pterosaurs, and several types of dinosaurs such as the sauropods Deinonychus and Wintanotitan, an unnamed ankylosaur, and hespilodonts. Plants known from the formation include ferns, ginkgos, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. And so now we get to discuss the fight.
I'm going with Gigantic.
My thoughts too.
Yeah. I don't think the dinosaurs quite got it to win this fight, to be honest. So it's described as, quote, aged. That means it's going to have the same weaknesses. Incredibly fast, but lacking in the strength category necessary to win against a potentially stronger predator like this ape, for example.
The advantages of Gigantopithecus is its greater intelligence, greater strength, and it's much more robust. The advantages that the theropod has is sharp teeth and claws, agility and speed, and better senses. If Gigantopithecus...
I think it would put up a good fight, but I still think Gigantopithecus would win.
Right. It would be very hard for the astroventilator to actually land a hit in the abdominal region because of those big, massive arms. Just if we go with current reconstructions, being built like a gorilla, those arms would provide a lot of protection. And really, if that ape manages to hit that dinosaur, the dinosaur having a very bird-like skeleton, even though it's very strong and being a predator, it could take a beating. I'm pretty sure it would break some bones, and if it managed to hit the ankle of that theropod's gone. I mean, that's a death sentence for those types of dinosaurs. So I think we're all in agreement that Gigantopithecus would win.
I think it would be a formidable battle, though.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, this is not good. This is a very bloody fight.
I'm pretty sure if astroventilator.
The dinosaur could still win a few times. Yeah, I wouldn't give the Gigano a 10 out of 10 for this fight.
Oh no.
You know, for winning.
It would probably sustain a lot of wounds that it could possibly die later from. Given that Megaraptorans were pretty much, they were Tyrannosaur versions of Allosaurs. They did a lot of quick bites, multiple bites added up to cause blood loss and trauma and shock to their prey items, from what's currently understood. So
sounds like what the great white does. It comes in and it gives a really bad injury and then backs off and waits prey to bleed to death.
Right.
So it won't fight.
And while astroventilator does not have the same build, most allosaurs could use their heads like a hatchet.
If any of the ones of the Gigano were to become infected at all, that would be a death sentence just through attrition.
True. So, in the initial fight, I would say Gigantopithecus would win, but it would sustain a lot of wounds that could lead to more complications.
Agreed.
But, and I'm guessing we're at a consensus, so I would say that concludes that would conclude the fight for tonight. And to all of our viewers and listeners, please let us know what you think in the comments on our Facebook page, our YouTube video, as well as our DeviantArt page. And that would conclude it for tonight's episode. Thank you for joining us. We're your hosts, Dakota, Greg, and Scott. Our behind-the-scenes researchers is Steven Starkey and Ace Predator of DeviantArt. Our contributors are GigaFan123 and Sounder1995. And to give a shout-out to all the artists that provided their work tonight. Forgive me if I butcher your name, but Kiwi Koe, B. Belvelo 2014, Hiro Chayo Shekidan, Avashin, Handari Nindu, Art26, Sandro Castilli, Elroy Manzaro, Karamishra 00, Anatotoner, Tarbosaurus Batar, Future Aesthetic, J.R. Roar, Red Dilipo, and Deskridge. Thank you for contributing your art to the show. And
I want to compliment you for the historic matchup, too.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a list of coding here because he created the matchup art.
Well, I'm a little bit more modest, but thank you guys. And that concludes tonight's episode. So thank you for joining us, and
Thank you for joining us.
see you till next time.
Super crack next week.
Yeah, we're covering Stomatosuchus. And we also have an intro.
The Chief Justice said, it's time to pee on the fire and call the dog.
Hey, just a little extra post-credits announcement to make. Our next fight will be another clash of dinosaur versus dinosaur from different time periods. It's going to be the first team versus single target match. Pack hunters versus a very hard-to-kill target. On one side, we have a pack of the dreaded Utah Raptors, the largest and most fearsome members of the Dromaeosaur family, versus the tank of the Jurassic period, Stegosaurus. And we're also giving a very special artist shout-out to Emily Willoughby for her work creating Dromaeosaurs for that fight. So stay tuned to see what she's got.
Okay, this is all of us. Over and out.